We also need to put the marker there for that final stitch of round 3. And okay. I'm right-handed, so I tend to like to have the yarn ball that I'm working with over on my left. I'm usually sitting in a chair with these in my lap, and so moving them back and forth. Okay, so we need 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, and 2. Okay. So at the end of round 3, we had 21, and we increased 3 on each one, which is 9, so there should be 30. Each one of these should have 10 now. 1 or 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So 30 all the way around. Okay? Now we need to move these. Bring, okay, color A over. And the instructions for round 4 are do 1 in each of the next 3 stitches, 2 in the next, then you repeat that, so it'd be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, and then final 2. Or final a single in the last one. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, and then 1. And I actually say this stuff over and over in my head, especially on these beginning rounds. Once you get the increases all done, it's not as crucial. Whoops, that's too big a loop. So 1, 1, 1, and 2. 1, 1, 1, 2. Whoops, missed a loop. And then 1 in the final. Placing these also helps to tell you, if you can't tell by looking, helps to tell you the ends of rounds. So this is round 1, round 2, round 3, and then when we place one here, it's round 4. Because it's not obvious until you've done a few of them. So that one doesn't want to close that way. There we go. I actually like the cheaper safety pins better. These are a little bit higher quality. They are harder to close. Okay, so we're going to do again 1 1 1 2. And again, if you want to figure out a better way to do the increases, go for it. I tried doing the normal increases the way normally hats are done, and it was all wonky. And 2. But again, it's not all that important how many or where the increases are done. Like if you're following some kind of pattern stitches or something for this, I do have a variation on this hat where I am doing a pattern kind of a thing, and as long as you're following what this one, I think we have 2 increases on this for each one on this round. You know, doesn't really matter where you place them, just so that they're not, you know, right next to each other. That would look wonky. Okay, and we do the same thing with color C. 1 1 1 and 2. Come on. 1 1 1 and 2. And then the final. Okay, that is the end of round 4, and you can see it's laying flat and even and nice. So we will go on to round 5, and I'm going to do a little bit of yarn wrangling here. Get everything so it's not. There's something about turning it that reorients all of the balls of yarn and wraps them around each other. Okay, so we have this one over here, and we can go on to round 5. And we're going to increase in the first stitch. So it'll be 2, and then 1 1 1. We repeat that twice, so it's 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 1 1. Okay, so we're increasing 3 times. Oh, at the end of this round, we should have we've increased from 10 to 12 for each color, so we should have 36. So 2 4 6 10 12. So we now have 36, and after this next one we will be increasing 3 more for each color. So that would be 15 times 3 would be 45. So this one we're doing 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. And then 2 and 1, 1. Okay. Oh, this is one of the nice cheap ones. It's easy. See how easy that was? Yeah. Okay. Do a little wrangling here and get this over this way. And this one set up. Move this out of the way. It's pulling. Okay. For color B, do the same thing. Whoops. Increase in the first one. And then 1 in each of the next 3. Then an increase. And then 1 in each of the next 3. And then an increase. And 1 in each of the next 2. I know from previous videos I've done in the winter time that when the fan goes on for the furnace, I can hear it on the video. So if you're hearing it now, that's the air conditioning. Even though it's evening in Michigan and normally it cools off, this is one of those nights where it's only gonna cool off maybe down to 75, like somewhere around 5 or 6 in the morning. It's going to stay warm all night. I think at midnight it's still supposed to be 80. So, I need more yarn here. Okay. So we need increase and then 3. And then an increase. And then 3. And then an increase. And 2. And there's the final stitch that we don't work. Okay. So for demo purposes, now this is a very adaptable hat, which I did not go into at the beginning, but I will explain that, okay, I'm working with number 4 worsted weight yarn here in the US, and this is all acrylic yarn, and I'm using a 4.5 millimeter hook, okay, because this is going to be a winter hat. I have faith winter will come to Michigan eventually. So, and this is what I usually do for winter hats, is a denser fabric. I go up to, I've made this for summer. I have several. In fact, here's one I did. It's a, oh, well, this is actually a variation on, it is a spiral hat, but I did a variation of the stitch, is what I call a thermal stitch. And, but you can see I've done the 3 colors, and I used this pattern to get it started. I just, basically, I'm calling it a thermal stitch because I've not seen it in any other pattern. It's basically a pattern stitch where you go into the front loop on one stitch and the back loop on the next. And when you're doing increases, you do front loop, back loop in the same stitch for an increase. So anyway, I did a little bit different going down the sides, but for the top of it, it's the same. Okay, so, and I used, I don't know, I think it was a 5.5 millimeter hook is what I usually use for summer to make a nice open, airy kind of a pattern. And obviously you would need more stitches for a denser fabric or a lighter weight yarn. You would need more stitches. And people have different tensions, gauges, and so I've made it very, very adaptable so that you can choose how many stitches are in the final round of the crown. And if you've had enough experience making hats, you should be able to tell that, hey, you know, the last hat I made, you know, had 70 stitches, and you know, it was, you know, an adult medium, okay, or, you know, it's right around there. And, you know, so that's fine. And you know what size hook you were using. If you're not experienced, this is the first hat you've ever done, which I would not recommend that you do a pattern like this, but it's the first one you've ever done that's like this. Maybe all your others have started at the bottom. But if you've done any hats, you should know with what size hook and how many stitches about how big your hat's going to turn out. And I give some guidelines here. Okay. At the end of row 6, you will have 54 stitches. And for most, not all, but most people, that would probably make an average size child's hat with worsted weight yarn and a 4.5 or 5 millimeter hook, somewhere in there. Depends on your tension and so forth, but somewhere around a child size. If you have a child with a very large head, probably not. Okay. Once you're done with round 6, you would go on to round 7. Okay? And I tell you, if you want to get 60 stitches for your final round, this is how you do the increases. Okay? And you do them in each color, and this will get you to 60 stitches. If you do these increases, you'll get 63. If you do these increases, you will get to 66, which for most people with, 4.5 to 5 millimeter hook and worsted weight yarn is going to be roughly an adult medium. And if that's what you want, stop there. In fact, if you're not really experienced, I would recommend going for the 60 sticks and trying it from there. If you need it bigger, because you're using thinner yarn or because you have a very tight tension and you know you need 75 stitches for a normal hat, then I tell you, you do round 7 and you increase to 66 stitches, And then you go on to round 8. And you can choose, by what increases you do in round 8, you can choose how big you want it, all the way up to 78 stitches. Okay? Once you have reached the number of stitches you want for the, the size of your hat, then you just simply stop doing increases and you just keep doing the stitches all the way around, whether you're doing half double crochet or double crochet, whatever. You just continue without any increases until you get the length you need for the sides of the hat. Okay, we are on round, here, see, this is where we can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are on round 6. We should have, at the end of round 5, 45 stitches, which would mean 15. So we will count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Ooh. Did I do something wrong? 2, 4, 6, 8, 14. Okay. Good thing to count. Let's count the other ones just to make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. That one's right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Okay. Well, that's very easy to fix. Good thing we counted, because if you mess it up, your whole count will be off. And it's not that crucial, but it does make a difference if you're planning a particular band for the bottom of the hat and you need a particular number of stitches. So what I'm going to do, because I've counted and I'm counting only those are wonky. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We're going to back up a couple. And in these last couple, we're going to increase 2 so that it is 15. Because we need 15. If we don't have 15, and we need one more there or not. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 15. Make sure we still have 15 here too. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Yep, we're good. Okay, for round 6, we are doing 2 in the first stitch, and then we're doing 4 and 1 in each stitch, doing that twice, and then we're doing 2 an increase, and then 1 in the next 3 stitches. So that's 3 increases, or 9, which will bring us to 54. Okay, so increase. Oops, I did not. I took the marker out. That's right, because it was holding down the yarn. Okay, increase, and then the next 4. Increase, and then the next 4. and an increase, and the next 3. Okay. And I'm going to there. Increase. And then 1 in each of the next 4. Increase. Increase. Oops. Oops. Move the increase there. There's the increase. Not that it really matters. Just so they're spaced out and there's the correct number. This is a rat's nest. Oh my goodness. Ouch. One will do it. Okay. And then we'll do our final color. For round 6. And 4. Oops. And our increase. Okay. And you can see that this is laying flat. So the increases are working. It's not getting all wobbly or wonky. Like I said, you're welcome to try and figure out how to do it on your own and not follow the complicated pattern, but this does work. Okay, I'm going to continue and do basically the same process, and I think I'm going to go to 66 in round 7 to make probably a small to medium. I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'm going to do a couple of rounds down the sides so you can see how it starts looking as it goes down the sides, and then I'll come back.